Okay, so very fast, I want to kind of go over valence electrons because this isn't specifically detailed in the activity. So basically when we're talking about valence electrons, we're really talking about those outermost shell electrons. So if you think about like a Bohr model, we have our nucleus in the center. We may have, let's say, 2 energy levels. My valence electrons are those electrons that are on this outermost energy level. Okay, so if I'm looking at my valence electrons, okay, I'm going to tell you a couple of them, and then we're going to hopefully kind of see a pattern that we can kind of use the periodic table to help us quickly identify how many valence electrons we have without having to actually draw a Bohr model every single time that we want to do that. So, for example, hydrogen, it has 1 valence electron. Okay, carbon has 4 valence electrons. Nitrogen and phosphorus both have 5, and oxygen has 6 valence electrons. Okay, so for example, where I'm getting these numbers, I'll just show you one. Like, let me draw the Bohr model for oxygen. So oxygen has 8 total electrons because it has an atomic number of 8. So I know it has 8 electrons and 8 protons. My first energy level can only hold 2 electrons. So if I need 8 total, that means my remaining 6 are going to have to go on this next energy level. So I have probably would have been easier if I did that in like a little bit different color. So let me go over those in blue so you can tell the difference where they are. So there's my 8 electrons, and remember my valence electrons are just those that are on this outer layer right here. So it's just these 6. Okay, so that's where I'm getting my 6 valence electrons. So if we look, I have 1 blank blank, 4, 5, 6 blank blank. If I think about it, I really can just kind of fill in these numbers. 2, 3, 7, and 8. So I'm really just counting from 1 to 8 as I'm going across the periodic table. Notice we don't have any blanks for in here. We're kind of ignoring this section for right now. These are called transition elements or transition metals. We're going to talk about them a little bit later on this week, but they can have multiple options, so we're just going to kind of ignore them for now. Okay, but what this is saying is that everything in this column, okay, has 8 valence electrons. Everything in this column has 7. Everything in this column has 6. Everything in this column has 5. Okay, everything in this column has 1. So if I asked you, for example, this element right here, I don't even know what it is off the top of my head, but I know that it has 3 valence electrons because it's in this column right here. Okay, valence electrons are important because it has to do with bonding. So remember, we just talked about Lewis structures. You just talked about, when I'm drawing a Lewis structure, like for example, for oxygen, I know oxygen has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 valence electrons. Okay, so there's just a little refresher on how we can quickly kind of identify those valence electrons.